Peace and blessings to you. My name is JB. I am the EntreMusician, and so are you. Welcome to another exciting episode of the EntreMusician. This is the space where we concentrate on the mindset, the discipline, and the focus of the EntreMusician. And in this episode, no exception, because we're going back to a series we began a couple weeks ago called You and Your Voice. Now, in our first episode, we actually began with the end in mind, right? We began with the how, and we're backing up to the why. We provided you with 7 ways to raise your voice. And if you've missed that episode, then you want to definitely go back, check it out. It has been a few weeks ago, but we provided 7 practical ways in which when you unpack and you understand how to utilize these principles, you can definitely, truly raise your voice. And as I explained, we're not talking about your speaking or your singing voice or even that particular setting or sound on your guitar, bass, or pedal board, or the way you approach your instrument to achieve that classic signature sound. Although these techniques are vital, the voice we're talking about is, as in most content that we prepare here on the EntreMusician, it has more to do with who you are and less with what you do. And that's why understanding the essence of your voice, the essence of who you are, is so unique. So we're going to unpack all of that in just a few minutes. But first of all, let me just give some crazy love out here to those of you who may be watching on the Armstrong Channel 100 network. I want to take the opportunity to say, yo, what's up, Greg? Thank you for the opportunity to be on this platform. We appreciate you spreading the love, sharing with everybody you know, and 13 people you don't, that you are now enjoying the EntreMusician on the Armstrong channel. And also to our family at Viz-D, yo, Tay Brown, the other incredible content providers on Viz-D on your Roku device or your Roku TV. It's love out here on Viz-D. So y'all, I'm in great company, and thank you, thank you, thank you. And thirdly, let me just say to those of you who are standing with us and you're helping us put these videos together, you're helping provide us with the resources to allow a true network of EntreMusicians to grow. Thank you. I mean, there is real, true, honest to Earl collaboration and dialogue going on here, and it's growing, and we love it. We appreciate those of you who make this possible, and we want to invite more of you to join us. You can do so by going to the EntreMusician.com, clicking on the backstage pass, and standing with us. I mean, if you desire deeper engagement, you go and you click that link, and you register, and you take a look at the various ways that you can get even more involved, experience even more content, and have greater access to us and what we're doing. So thank you again to those of you who are standing with us, and thank you in advance to those of you I know who will. Now, allow me to throw something different into this conversation real quick, and we'll get back on point. I got to tell you that in February of 2012, I suffered an incredible back injury. I had a doctor tell me that I needed incredible surgery, that I would be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, that I had to lay down my drumsticks. And I was referred to Youngstown Spine and Disc, Dr. Ron J. Rossetti. And that brother was able to get me back on point, no surgery, no wheelchair, and back to the drums. Now, why am I bringing this up 10 years later? Because last week, not knowing exactly what I did or how I did it, I jacked my back up again. And I suffered 2 horrible days of agony. I mean, the OMG, if you have ever had incredible back pain. My sciatica, it just exploded and took me to a whole new level of excruciating pain. And once again, I reached out to Dr. Ron Rossetti, and he came to my rescue. And after just 2 days of decompression treatments, he was able to bring me the relief that I needed. So out of my sincerest gratitude, I told him, yo, I gotta give you a shout out on the EntreMusician. This is not a paid commercial. I'm doing this as a true testimonial from a man who laid on the floor for about 2 days in incredible agony. And I'm telling you, no matter where you live on the planet, wherever you're watching this from, but wherever you're watching this from, you got to reach out to Youngstown Spine and Disc and check out Dr. Ron Rossetti. You will love me for it. You'll absolutely be on point, and you'll say, Jerry, that's what's up, man. So now let's find out what's cooking on the front burner, and it is absolutely the MLC, the Mechanical Licensing Collective. I hope you've heard of this. If you haven't, you definitely want to listen up. Because remember, as a songwriter, your song is split into two pies, each worth 100%, if you can imagine me holding two hot apple pies in my hand. Now, the first pie is the music, the melody, the lyrics, the arrangement, and the publishing, all worth 100%. That's called the PA copyright. And then the second pie is the sounds which make up the song. The sounds from your DAW that you're storing on your hard drive. This is the second pie, and it's called the SR copyright. And as the creator of this work, both of these pies, as a songwriter, publisher, producer, label, often you're wearing all of these hats because you're an EntreMusician, you most likely own both copyrights, and you can receive royalties or a percentage of each based on your piece of ownership. But I don't want to complicate it. Let's keep it simple. Let's say you own 100% of both pies. Now you're eligible for royalties from license fees, from performances, for the sale or of the composition or the master recordings. And what has happened is the MLC has now come into place to collect compensation based on the mechanical royalties, which affects, in this case, this pie, the songwriter, the composer, the lyricist, and the publishers. This means that the MLC, the Mechanical Licensing Collective, collects and pays you when your song is copied or duplicated onto CDs. You don't see that much, but if your song happens to be sampled by another artist in another recording, or you're streamed on to any of the DSPs like Pandora or Spotify, or your song is sold as a digital download. Now, back in the day when record companies were numerous, they were the ones that paid out the mechanical royalties. But when the internet took over, the conversation became a little convoluted, and these royalties got lost in the sauce to the tune of $424.4 million in unmatched mechanical royalties. Listen to that number, $424 million. So what happened is in 2018, Congress passed the Music Modernization Act, and they assigned this $424 million over to the MLC, not to play with or go on vacation, but to award the appropriate portions to the songwriters, the composers, the lyricists, and the publishers who are registered on their database to pay them what they are owed. So the moral of this front burner is you need to be registered, right? Registration is free. Now you can think of the MLC like you do BMI or ASCAP or any of the other PROs, but remember the PROs, performance rights organizations, they really handle the public performance of your song like airplay. The MLC handles the digital audio portion of the mechanical royalties, and they do this even if you're already signed with Harry Fox. I've put all the necessary links into the show notes so that you can take the necessary steps to get your music registered, get your songs into the database, and begin collecting what's yours and moving forward. Okay? So that's the MLC. Now let's go on to what we came here to talk about, right? Your unique voice. I know I'm going to have to begin by preaching to the choir, by reminding you of what you already know. Some of you should know this, and if you don't, shame on you. And I won't be able to adequately apologize that this may sound like some fluff. It may sound like I'm trying to butter you up. I am, but I'm not. I want to reach in and tell you the absolute truth. If you already know it, roll with me, right? But you got to know that you are special. You got to know that. You got to know that you are one of a kind, right? You got to know that you're unique and that there is no other person on the planet quite like you. I know this is all Mr. Rogers, right? But there never was, there never will be. Even if you're an identical twin or triplet or quintuplet, there may be some similarities, but there's only one you. Let that sink in, right? And let's take it deeper, okay? In fact, let's become a little bit more graphic. And let me just say, if you're a parent and you have a small child around, you don't want them to hear this language, you might want to just pause right here, get them out of the room, and come back to it when you can. But according to WebMD, 100 million sperm are produced by the man in a, let's call it a baby making session, okay? And it just takes one sperm cell to fertilize the egg of the woman. Just one, right? And for all practical purposes, that one who made it to the finish line in our scenario is you. 999,999 to you, which means you've already succeeded at birth. Whatever race, culture, economic status, religious ideology, from the poorest to the wealthiest, dealt whatever hand of challenges, disabilities, discrepancies, and other obstacles, you've already won because you made it here. Welcome to life, right? And you came packed with potential and overflowing with talents and giftings and abilities and purposes unique to you, unique to your call, and destined to win. Now, again, you can dismiss this as some run-of-the-mill pep talk, but it's not. My encouragement to you that I want you to really zero in on is the uniqueness of your calling. Your calling. Because what seems to me, at least, to permeate art and fashion and creativity, especially in music, is the lack of true originality. Again, that's my opinion, but it seems to me that everybody everywhere wants to do the same thing that everybody everywhere is doing. It's cookie cutter. It's groupthink on steroids. It's the lack of single-mindedness. It's an assault on uniqueness. And it is that very uniqueness of yours which is the key to success. Your success. Your being exactly who you are, doing exactly what you do best is the essence of genius. Now, this is not hidden, my friend. I mean, it's obvious and wide open and right in front of you. There's enough music history to note that the giants who stand head and shoulders over everyone else in whatever genre that you listen to or like, from the Rolling Stones to Prince to Johnny Cash to Madonna to Mahalia Jackson to Stevie Wonder to the Red Hot Chili Peppers to Aretha Franklin to Dolly Parton to Chick Corea, who just left us, from P-Funk, George Clinton to Lady Gaga to Tupac to Bob James to Marvin Gaye. I can keep going. Like them or not, leaders, all of them. Why? Because they chose to ignore the status quo. They refused to obey the rules. They chose to walk the narrow path of obscurity and degradation. And to the people who were sleeping on them, woke the heck up and realized the truth. In fact, history records that the once fiery gospel singer Aretha Franklin, once she left her dad's church, right, and she went out for the certain starlight of secular music, she was ostracized by the Christian community. That happened to the Clark sisters as well. They were ostracized. And additionally, when Aretha Franklin did step out, her first record company wanted to mold her in that, Nancy Wilson or Dionne Warwick approach. That was the model of the black female singer at that time. But once she signed with Atlantic Records, right, and they let her go straight up raw soul, it was game over. Y'all know that. Same thing with Marvin Gaye. He's fighting to release his song on Motown, What's Going On? Right? And Stevie Wonder wanting to break the Motown bubblegum machine with synthesizers and the technology of that day. Both of those artists changed music forever. I could go on, right? But you get my drift. In fact, there is a very inspirational documentary that you should stop and watch right after this video is over. It will bring you to tears. And it's entitled A Band Called Death. And it's about the very first black rock / punk band. Yes, there was a black rock band before the band Living Colour, right? And they were a band called Death. That was the name of their band. You got to hear their story, the bitter failures, the ironic victories. No spoiler alerts here. I just want you to go and watch and learn. Because in the middle of the mire of all the artists that I've mentioned heretofore is your uniqueness, your story, your journey, your experience, your life, your music, your voice. Okay? And you only get a couple of shots at this on this planet, right? And I'm speaking to you very clearly. You have to do exactly what's in your heart. Now, I know as well as you do that there are fundamental rules to art, to business, to life. But for every rule, there's a maverick. For every beaten path, there's a pioneer who's heaven bent on making their own way, right? And interestingly, the world does make room for such people. That is, however, if you're willing to pay the price. If you're willing to pay the price for being misunderstood or misaligned or even vilified, it turns out that it is worth it. My colleagues and I in the EntreMusician Mastermind, we talk about this often. Every song today sounds the same. Every producer is using the same production tips, right? We're using the same software, the same equipment. Every artist has the same look. And musicians are really scared to be themselves, man. You know, you hear it all the time. My song should only be 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I can only have 2 verses. No bridges in the song, no fades. I can't use any sevenths or ninths in my chord, you know, and all this effort to just roll over and fit right in. I mean, yeah, I didn't wake up yesterday, right? I know that, and I'm old enough to know that every single era of modern music had these norms that musicians were expected to follow in order to make it. And the mantra for starving artists literally became, do this so you can eat. Believe me when I say I understand the fine line between making music that people like so you can pay your bills now, or creating art that increases in value because you went deeper inside of yourself and told the truth. This music is not for the masses, but this music did transform a chosen few, and they became your tribe. They became your culture. Now that's achievement. When you have something to say, whether it's through your instrument, whether it's through your lyrics, whether it's through your song, your singing voice, whether it's through your production, you bring something to the table that no one else has. Now the first step is realizing how absolutely valuable you are and not allowing the assessment of others to just hinder you or thwart you from absolutely going forward. Now, of course, I'm not talking about being unprepared or unprofessional or unproductive. You are an EntreMusician, and you do have a solid mindset, a discipline, and a focus that should always apply. But I am talking about being unprecedented and unpredictable. I'm talking about being incredibly you in your own approach, in your own appeal, without any apologies. This is who I am. This is the music that I make. This is what elevates. This is what motivates. This is what inspires you, your voice, your heart, your mind, your spirit. Am I drilling it in deep enough? I hope I am. Your voice, your music. Because see, the truth is hidden from the masses, but a lot, I won't say all, but a lot of the celebrated artists, the ones that are huge, dynamic, many of them are completely miserable. That's just the truth. They're bound to creating music and images and brands that have nothing to do with their true selves, with who they really are. They're selling an illusion, my friend, a fantasy, right? Many of them have chained themselves to this merry-go-round, smothered in cow manure that they can't wipe off. So what do? They suffocate themselves with drugs and alcohol, sexual perversion, and unfortunately for a few, even suicide, because they were pretending all the time. They were pretending that the parties were fun and trying to make you envious that you were on the outside looking in. They have a couple of dollars in the bank that they can't even spend because nobody told them or trained them or taught them how to bless the world with being themselves. You understand? See, here's the secret, and we'll just close with this. The secret is you are enough, my friend. You are. You should be the very best you that you can and should be. Don't be him. Don't be her. The cosmos can't handle two of that. Be you. Be uniquely you. Learn all you can, right? Learn all you can about you. Learn all you can about your craft. Know it. Practice it, shred it, and go out there and present the best way to express you. Because you're absolutely worth it. I mean, you're definitely enough. That's it. That's it for the day. You are enough. You are unique. You are you. I hope you take that to heart. I hope you share this message. I hope you share these videos. Again, go to the EntreMusician.com, click the backstage pass, come on in and help support our community, right? Help support the work we do. I mean, you're more than welcome to roll up your sleeves and just join in. You have a unique voice. Use it. I'm going to use mine. My name is Jerry B. I am the EntreMusician. And so are you. We will see you next time. God bless.